At Newcastle upon Unitarians, we welcome all who seek the meaning of life and who seek to explore all truths from all sources. With respect for our Christian origins, we seek to travel together along the way. Our fellowship gives us strength and encouragement in daily living. And now, let us light our chalice. The flame rises from this flaming chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian faith. Sweeten the love flame, may it spark in each of us connection and commitment to this living tradition and to each other. Welcome, Kate. So today's service is called Work is Love in Action, which is one of the three principles of the Findhorn Spiritual Community, which I visited about 5 years ago now. Part of their principle, one of their three founding principles, that is, define work is love in action, is to try and find the spiritual in the everyday. Possibly, if you're going to do the washing up anyway, you may as well try to find some meaning in it, because the washing up is going to need doing anyway. So, unusually for today, we are actually going to be doing a little caretaking of our building, as we're going to be using it for until at least the end of the year, and we will see what happens after that. You might find on the back of the order of service there's a list of a few things that need doing, and we've got some pies over there. Everyone can decide what they feel most comfortable with. So we'll have hymns, readings, and a poem, and then the second half of the service is going to be taken up. We're just doing a little bit of caretaking of our building and its surroundings, and then we'll meet again to put out the chalice and to share fellowship afterwards. The phrase work as an act of love, or work is love in action, came up during a breakfast conversation when my now grown-up children were home visiting during the holidays, and has been very alive for me since then. It's a phrase that comes from my time at the Findhorn Spiritual Community in the north of Scotland near Inverness. It's the principle through which we are encouraged to engage our daily work in the garden, kitchen, or office, and pointed to the attitude at the heart of Findhorn's co-creative explorations of nature, as well as within their human community. Let all your work and effort be a loving act. It was a good lesson for me in my own youth, and has interwoven itself through my life as a useful attitude to bring to every enterprise. During the conversation, we all agreed that doing something we loved increased our energy and stamina, but to choose to make any chore-like activity an action of love stretched the idea of work into new territory. For me, that conversation has inspired a reassessment. Where do I bring love into my habitual actions? Where do I forget to? Where can I polish my love in action skills and improve the odds of success in my own projects? In this, David Spangler's reflections on the spectrum of love have been helpful to me. David Spangler is an interesting person. He is, I'm trying to think of the right term, perhaps not guru, spiritual explorer, spiritual leader, something of that is pretty close. He's not one of the three legendary founders of the Findhorn community, but those who do know the community will say that, as is sometimes the way, after it had been founded, he was the person who came along and, if he didn't exactly ensure single-handedly it would keep going, because no one person can do that, but he was very much a guiding force between sustaining it beyond a very small spiritual community into something that has lasted for about 60 years, and is indeed still going now, and will keep going. Part of it has shut down its educational opportunities, but the community itself is still very much alive and kicking, albeit, like many organisations at the moment, going through a period of change. David Spangler's reflections on the spectrum of love posit a view of love as a continuum that, as its simplest expression, is honest perception, in which we are willing to just see another, draw them into the field of conscious awareness, and know them to exist. From there, David's triangular spectrum recognises a series of stages expressing love as connection, acknowledgement, honouring, appreciation, caring and affection, and beyond. Any one of these experiences are part of the spectrum of love. Each one gives shape to a different depth of connectedness with the surrounding world. Making my daily activities an expression of love in action in this way has been ongoing since those early days at the Findhorn community. It is a choice to bring the energy of connection, joy and pleasure into the daily tasks before me. It creates a spirit of partnership and has encouraged me to give that mysterious force called love a working definition, a handle that allows it to inform my world. At this point, work as love in action becomes my work to put love into action. It is a moment-by-moment choice I make to connect, and to make that connection go as deep as possible within the scope of a particular situation. It is an attitude that seeks to support the best in myself and the world around me. That does not mean I'm always passionate about an activity in itself, or deeply resonant with every person I work with, but it does mean I look to honour a personal standard of how I engage with each person or activity in my life. Making my work an act of love in action is my responsibility. It is a strategy of connection, a path for participation in a loving and living universe. Though it takes some courage and determination, success in work through making it our love in action emphasises ease and not pressure, and builds from a yes attitude. It refreshes and regenerates our lives with enthusiasm and joy and flows out from there. It is with interest and respect that I now see my own children step forward thoughtfully to make their work now an act of their love, caring and commitment.
I look over my own shoulder, down my arms, to where they disappear underwater, into hands inside pink rubber gloves, moiling among dinner dishes. My hands lift a wine glass, holding it by the stem and under the bowl. It breaks the surface like a chalice rising from a medieval lake. Full of the grey wine of domesticity, the glass floats to the level of my eyes. Behind it, through the window, above the sink, the sun, among a ceremony of sparrows and bare branches, is setting in Western America. I can see thousands of droplets of steam, each a tiny spectrum, rising from my goblet of grey wine. They sway, changing directions constantly, like a school of playful fish, or like the sheer curtain on the window to another world. Ah, grey sacrament of the mundane.
Thank you, Anna. And I suggest that as this is our time together, let us take a couple of moments for prayer to calm ourselves, to clear our heads. Let us just sit in silent prayer for a minute or so, and then we shall go and do some work with love in action. You've heard both from a poet and a writer about trying to put some meaning into the mundane, and about how even the mundane can become a meaningful act when we do it with the right intention. In this case, I suppose my intention anyway in doing this is simply to make sure that the space we all share together on a Sunday is as pleasant as it can be for us. So at this point we are going to go into the practicalities. Is there anyone online?
Zhang Wei.
Cameron, it's been lovely to have you. I appreciate this is a very short visit for you. I'm sure you are with us in spirit. We'd love to see you in person, but unless you can teleport, that's not going to happen right now. So we are shortly going to end the online part of this service, because those of us who are physically present are going to often do some love in action by doing a bit of cleaning, tidying, and generally sprucing up. But as ever, thank you for being with us. It means a lot. And we hope we'll virtually see you soon. So Those of us who aren't physically present, you might see on the map of the order of service, I've picked out a few basic things that I think we could look at doing. I'm happy to discuss doing them or anything that anybody else thinks that needs doing or that we can't do. So when I suggest that we now rise from our places, go towards the tea table and discuss between us what we want to do. And I'm going to do an unusual thing, which is to put out the chalice now. I'll ceremonially put it out at the end of the service, but it's generally best not to leave flames burning. Even though, I mean, this one's not really doing anything very adventurous, but I'm a great believer in the peace law, and so is the university's fire safety. So we shall pop out its physical flame for now, but it's still with us as we go off to do some other action. Yep. So I suggest we gather around the tea table and have a quick chat.